host of the program, and it is show number 201. 201. Happy to be on the other side of 200. Proud member of the Education Podcast Network, as well as Voice Ed Radio Canada, or wherever you are consuming your podcast. Certainly, we're on iTunes. How about a review on iTunes? Can you give me a review on iTunes? Can you help out the podcast and give us a review? Because those reviews are like Yelp. I mean, I'm telling you what, you get good reviews, it kind of climbs up the ladder a little bit. So I would appreciate that. But it is show 201. I'll have to fix this underneath here, Michael. It's my first mistake of the show, and it won't be my last. But we are going to meet Michael Carter. He was supposed to be on a week ago. We had some hurdles, but we got through those hurdles, just like school administrators around the country are doing. And here we are live on Education Leadership Beyond. Michael Carter has a story to tell. He is an amazing school leader out in Oregon, doing some great things. He's involved in their state organization, and really looking forward to talking to him. He is an interesting dude, certainly with some cool shoes. Today's sponsor is me. I'm sponsoring the show. It just came out, Tales from the Hardwood. I'm proud to announce this, proud to say it's on Amazon, and I am getting my copy soon that I'll be happy to sign for you, and I hope they arrive before next week. I can bring Michael and his team some, but very proud of this book, very proud of the stories in here, the experiences, and had some great people write some testimonials here. J.D. Collins is the National Supervisor of Officials. Jimmy Casas, a tremendous school leader, educator. And Brian Kane is a mental performance coach. So they wrote some nice testimonials. It's out on Amazon. Check it out. Tales from the Hardwood, Surviving and Thriving. We're staying with this theme here and the little vignettes in there. So I hope you check that out. Let's get rolling. Show number 201. If you're watching live, jump in. Leave us a comment. Leave us a question. I'd love for you to talk with Michael. I'd love for you to get involved with the show. So, but today's opening comment, right? We're people, right? We're educators. We're around people. We're around teachers. We're around parents. You can tell when you meet somebody, when you click, right? I had a great opportunity to meet Michael in person last week, and also recently at the Wide Open Spaces. He's got presence. He has got warmth, a smile. He immediately kind of close sat next to me, just started talking, and we just hit it off. There was never, hey, tell me about yourself, or there didn't have to be an introduction. We just got chit-chatting. Michael, I would share something, and Michael was able to relate, right? He said, "Why?" And he added to the conversation. There was just a warmth, and it made me think about him and his school leadership, that it's important that we find connections in other people. I recommended to my group that we met out there in Oregon about the blog, The Leadership Freak. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Michael, but his blog today was about connecting with people and how you do that. And Michael did that in such a natural way when I met him, and I compliment him, and it's just a cool deal. So, think about your relationships, think about your communication with people. And enough of me chit chat. Let's get rolling with 201. We're going to bring Michael into the program. Michael, finally, welcome.
Well, welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for having me. I'm disappointed I'm not number 200, but hey, I'm happy to be on 201. That's on the way to 1,000. So I'm looking forward to your 1,000 show. I want to be back for that one.
Why did I wait so long? Why did I wait to 200 times?
I think that's okay. I think because I've watched some of the others. It's been great. So no, I'm very honored to be on here, and congratulations on your new book. I also loved your old one. So fascinating one. If you haven't read it, make sure you get that one. That's fabulous. And some of your conferences there, but I'm looking forward to reading the new one.
Awesome. Well, you might be show number 201, but you're definitely in the top 5 of best dressed. Looking sharp here on the program.
It's a clip-on. It's a clip-on. No.
This is Michael Carter, Superintendent, Lake. I want to say it right, Michael. Lake County School in Oregon. Michael, tell us regionally, where are you? And tell us a little bit about Lake County.
Yeah, it's the southeast part of the state of Oregon, and Oregon's the 10th largest geographic state. People forget that. Lake County School District is 10,000 square miles. With I always between 8 and 10. You look at some of the sides here, and we have 2 million cows and less than 10,000 people. So we got a lot of ranching out here. It's beautiful country. We're about 3.5 hours from Reno. We're 3.5 hours from Bend, and we're about 3.5 hours from Medford. So we're in a nice place. It's beautiful. The people are great, very down to earth people, and they're also, common sense is not a bygone era. It's people really still value that here.
And Michael, you're doing some great things there in Lake County. Your first year and your superintendent, you had changed schools. Coming into a new place, what were some of the things that you were intentional about doing, Michael, as well as intentional about not doing when you arrived there in Lake County?
Well, the nice thing about it is we were the largest school district in Oregon to stay open the entire time during COVID. So we intentionally had planned some stuff. I had worked in another district for 20 years. I was on the governor's planning commission and stuff for the COVID. We were since end of February. We wound up closing schools in Oregon on the 16th of March of the year. And what we did then was I was able to bring some of the experience I had, from those committee works with the state and everything, and the Oregon Small School Association. I'm the executive director for that. So working with those committees and working with different superintendents, we were able to be the pilot pretty much, by default. We ran it like a military operation here. So we had school in the beginning, in the morning for elementary, and then we ran buses in the afternoon for the high school. So we really were able to do that. Then we were able to be instrumental to get a matrix done in Oregon because we were very conservative with the COVID situation. And we were able to get a matrix worked out. So if you had a certain number of cases in your county or numbers, you could, come back in school. And that was really important for us. We were very proud of that. That was the biggest thing. So strategically, what we did in the beginning was we came in as a crisis leader. And right now, it's funny because we have moved from surviving to thriving, stealing some of your stuff. So that's been important to us. But the first thing I did when I got here, it's always interesting when you have a new superintendent or new leader coming in. He or she comes in, they have to really understand the culture. And this is a different culture for me. I came to Lakeview when I was in my 30s to hang glide. So I always fell in love with this area here and hang gliding and things like that. So when I got here, I'm older now. I don't hang glide anymore, but I do enjoy the outdoors. So I get to do that. But the part of the culture is really interesting here is there's a lot of American core values here that are still very ingrained in our community. Agriculture, of course, is a huge part of our community. In addition, we're in that place where a lot of communities are going from traditional industrial and mom and pop shops and little cottage industries. We're expanding that. We have a lot of people who come here because they want to get away from the urban setting. They want to have a place to raise their family, which is great. We have a foundation called the Daily Fund, which is just fantastic. It's 100-year anniversary. And our kids, if they graduate from high school and go on to post-secondary work, college, they get that paid for pretty much. Wow. So it's fabulous. So it's a really great foundation, one of the best ones in the country. So we have a lot of parents who come here. You have to be here from 9th grade all the way to 12th to be part of that. So we have a lot of people actually move here for that. It's like saving, Andrew, it's $100,000, so you can see why that's important. But I guess the key thing is that coming into a new culture is pretty much understand the history. As a former social studies teacher, the history is important to me. I mean, if we always say we need to learn from history. Well, here it's important for me to understand why we do certain things. And then before you come up with a great idea, you ask what has happened in the past. So that was very important for me to take a step back because I'm one of those people who like to get things done. And again, there is a time to get things done. But in this part of my career, I'm a little slower with acting because of experience. I think that helps. It's been a very good fit for me. It's been a very good fit for our community. We have done a lot in a short period of time. We got daycare coming. We have childcare. We have preschool coming. We had a program last summer, and we had 17 different programs offered for our kids, and every kid got an opportunity, even with the COVID crisis going on. So, like, we had a CSI course, and we had state troopers come in and help teach this, and it's been fabulous. So we were able to do that last summer. So I guess what I'm saying, I capitalized. You learn when you understand the history of the culture, first about the area. Take your time to do that. Second thing you do is you find out, what people, the push place, how far can you push people to go as fast as you can. One of the gifts they gave me, and I'll have to show it to you, is a break. They gave me a break. My administrator told me I need to get a break. I got to show you that.
Hey, that's a great prop, Michael. We talked about props when we were together. Oh my goodness.
So this is what my administrators gave me the second month I was here. So
that is incredible.
Yeah, and I think that probably is indicative of the culture. Sometimes, like I said, it really reminded me that you have to get the history and understand where people are coming from. These are very intelligent people. They're very passionate and committed to their community. I've never seen one like it. And they're also very generous. But when they gave me the break, they said, listen, we're not telling you to slow down. We're telling you to pump the brakes a little bit. That's how you slow down. But in other words, don't stop. Pump the brakes, but don't stop. And I think
love
that's
it.
a great message.
You need to bring that to the coach there. Add it to the. Yeah, that didn't make the sign either. That's a great prop.
It's a great prop.
And now you have a story to go with it.
Oh, it's a great story too, because like I said, they didn't want me to stop. That was the big message. Don't stop changing. Don't stop getting this to become better, because we tell everybody we want to move to the next level of success. That's our theme. Move to the next level of success. But they said, don't stop. But again, you need to pump the brakes occasionally.
I love it. Michael, my friend Jeff Evner is also a superintendent in New York, and he is in a new district. He's watching. And Jeff, we got a baby coming there. Very excited for you. But along those lines, Michael, learning the culture. Someone told me, Andrew, don't take down a wall that you don't know why it was built, right? And learning the why. So tell me where you saw something and said, I don't like that. And you wanted to go, but you hit the brake, right? Was there something that you said, and you're waiting, right? You're a little more patient now, so is there an example that you have there?
A good one would be the looking at the daily scholarship. It's been there for 100 years. And some of the criteria they established 100 years does not fit today's society. So we're taking our time to modify that. So you just can't go in there and say, hey, no, this is what we need to have, more equitable. No, you have to take your time to understand that, because some of our people on the committees in their 80s, and they received the first or second daily scholarship.
Wow.
So it's very important to take your time. Traditions there, traditional GPAs and things like that are still part of it. What do you do with the weighted GPA and all that? They never had that when they designed this scholarship. That's a very good example of a wall that's there, and everyone's heart is right, and it's for kids. But again, you have to, before you change something like that, you need to understand it all and make sure it's done equitably, and then everyone understands it. And then also, it's going to be a 4 to 6 year change. It can't happen overnight.
Sure. That's a great example. Michael, I got to watch you a little bit in action at a conference, right? I got to watch you speak. I got to watch you interact, and I shared a little bit about building relationships with people. Is that something you had to work at, or is that just something that was your personality? And again, I shared about how you and I met, and it was just, I don't know. It's like, wow, this guy's easy to talk to. So,
well, I think too, I come from a large family, and that helps a lot, because if you don't talk, you don't get listened to. So everyone talks. It's funny. It's a culture. The first time I brought a girl home from college to meet my parents, she says, I can't handle your family. You got 12 kids here, and I'm leaving. I can't. Walk out. And I go, what's your problem? She goes, you guys are fighting. I said, that's not fighting. That's just discussing.
This is talking.
That's just talking. So that was a big lesson for me as well. Learning to listen and learning to get to that place in relationships, that is important. So what I find, though, is our entire job is about relationships.
Yes.
And you mentioned that over and over again in your workshop and in your books. But again, building the relationships, and I always tell people, are you cashing checks that relationship checks you don't have in the bank? You have to build that bank account up so you can, capitalize on the relationship piece. So I've had to work hard at it, because I like to, be heard first before, I go forward. And then now I'm really making a concerted effort to listen first, understand. And I think that's the best part about being a veteran administrator. You learn from your past mistakes and say, I don't have to do that again. But relationships are number one. I've practiced them all the time, Andrew. It is easy to get into your own ego. It's easy to get in your own position. And it's easy to make sure that, I'm in charge and I'm the superintendent. No, that's not it at all. The bottom line is, I'm in the same boat as you are. It's the same lifeboat, and we want to get to the place we need to be safely. I use that Men Against the Sea, when you look back in that story and you talk about some of the greatest sailing in the world. Captain Bligh, we always hear the story about Fletcher Christian and all that stuff. Captain Bligh and his crew, 4,800 open sea miles, and a great sailing thing. And that's what helps me remember. We're in the same lifeboat. Our fate is on it together. And if I build the right relationship and I keep building on those relationships and nurture them, we're going to get there safely. And not only that, we're going to do things great. So relationships are number one. Is it natural? No, it's out of your comfort zone, no matter how much you like it. But like you said, occasionally you find someone click, you and I clicked, and those are really great because it's a natural. We look at each other, we see each other, it's fine. But some people you don't, because you don't know where they're coming from, and you have to go back and be very gentle and take your time. And I tell you what, relationships are well worth it.
Yeah, you certainly model that, and good for you about realizing that about yourself. Another thing I noticed, people go to conferences. Some people don't even go to the sessions, right? Some people are
No.
listening. Some people are checking their email. You are typing away, and it looks like you're working. You are working, but
Yeah.
you're absorbing that content. You took copious notes. Your books, right? You have
Yeah.
copious notes in your book. Tell me about absorbing that information and your style of writing it down.
Well, I think it goes back to, I was raised in poverty, and my family, the library was our friend. I mean, we got free books. We couldn't believe that system. Even though I was a little kid, we get this and we get all this information free, and mom and dad 4 books a piece because if we lost them, we were in trouble. We couldn't afford them, and even to have them late. So information is the golden ticket. It's the Willy Wonka. Education is the golden ticket. That ticket got us out of poverty. But also, what my parents said, you don't learn you learn for fun. So I love to learn, and I'm very slow and methodical about it. But I take a lot of notes. Then I come back and write my cheat notes, my cheat sheets. I call them cliff notes. I take all my cliff notes for every conference I've ever been to. Then I cross-reference it. But I also do my homework. I mean, when I go to those conferences, I believe that I'm paying for it. I'm a public trust. I want them to know that I got my money's worth.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come back with those 4 or 5 things. So Monday, I will go in with 4 things from this last conference that I will share with all my administrative team. And every administrator that goes has to come back with at least 2 things they're going to share with the administrators. And I think that's important because that's why it also shows the board that we're accountable, shows people that we're accountable. And I can't even imagine skipping a conference. The only thing I've changed over my years, though, if it's a conference, I start in a session and it's really not going to be beneficial to me, I get permission to go to another session.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you find a session that might not really fit what you need, and then that's just going to be a waste to you. It's also going to be disrespectful to the speaker, whoever he or she is. I want to be present. So when I go to a conference, so I do, like you said, I take notes, and what I do is I condense those. I type a lot, and then I also I steal it. I'm a professional plagiarist. I steal all your quotes, ideas, everybody, and it makes me a better administrator. It also stretches my personal learning because when I hear something new, wow, it's great. It's a rubber band.
Yeah. And you could tell you're well read, and it's not stealing. And we said that at the conference.
Yeah.
It's sharing, it's growing, it's learning.
It is.
And here you are doing it in the latter part of your career. So what were some takeaways? We got to spend a few days together. Rachel George was outstanding from Oregon. What was a couple takeaways that you are going to share?
Well, the biggest takeaway for me that I got out of the 4, one of them is that, the responsibility of people in positions to elevate other people. I mean, that is huge. I mean, it's not just it's commission for me now. It's going to be a badge of honor for me. How many people can I get into this career and successfully help them launch their career before I leave? Mm-hmm. So I set a personal goal of 6 more. I want 6 people to be in the career and working well. So I'm going to really work hard on that. That's a big takeaway. And it's also a consolidated effort, and I heard some very good things about that. The other thing was, they talked about, the jungle gym Rachel did in her book.
Yeah.
And that was really a powerful metaphor for me because a lot of times we think about that ladder going up and down, and it's not. It's a jungle gym. And especially the way with COVID, people are getting educated differently. Schools are going to look differently in the future. Mm-hmm. And I think leadership as well. So we need to look at some alternative ways to bring leaders in. Not the traditional thing, I'm a coach, I'm an advisor, I'm doing all these things. No, there's some other ways. We have some people now who have come back as counselors or something, different things. So that jungle gym piece is huge for me. That's the second one I'm going to bring. The third thing I'm going to bring is talk about the value of scenarios and the group thinking. When you do that exercise with scenarios, it's really fascinating to watch body language.
Yes.
And to see how people look at that, Andrew. And you see it firsthand up there as a speaker because you can see the whole audience. But I watched just a couple of tables, and it was really fascinating to watch people go, oh, I can see that. I never thought about that. And I think that's the important part, that groupthink is very important. It's very easy to make a decision, but I'm still doing it with my focus and my frame of mind. By having everyone else, so I'm going to, the third point would be expand your frame, your reference, and that's going to be final is taking care of yourself. That seemed to be a theme all the way through, especially with COVID. So those are the 4 things I'm going to share with my administrative team on Monday. And I'm going to share a couple of that with I have a board meeting tonight, a couple of things to show them. I want the board to hear too what we've brought back, from the conference and how we're going to implement that. But I think taking care of ourselves is huge. I'm going to pass that on to my board. because they've got beat up pretty heavy with COVID. A lot of board members, a lot of school administrators, and of course we forget the boards got beat up by their community.
Yeah.
They've gone to school with these people all the time, and they said we have to keep the rules, and some people disagree with the rules. So I just think that's going to be one of the things. Those are the 4 things I'm going to share on Monday.
Well, and you're modeling them too, Michael. You're a big dude, you're a big guy, and I was a little tired in those mornings and kind of dragging myself to the gym. And who was there, right? I saw you getting some dynamic movement going in. Is exercise part of your daily routine? Is that something that you get done every morning? You try to do it after school? When do you fit that in?
The older I get, it's down to 6 times a week. I used to be 7, to 9, and now I'm down to 6 times a week because I'm getting older. But I do it in the morning, and I found that out. The only way I can do it's the only part of my schedule I can control.
Yeah. I
found if I did it in the evenings or after school in the afternoon, there's things that happen. Also, a meeting supposed to be, I'm going to work out between 6 and 8. Then I find that if I personally work out too late, I have a hard time sleeping. So I get up early and work out. It also helps me. Like I said, it's like making my bed. It's a routine. No matter what, my bed's always made. Even the stupid in the hotel, even I find myself making the bed. I'm going, okay, you can let yourself go. Sometimes you can relax. I go on vacation with a lot of friends and family, and it's always funny. They say you're a different person on vacation. I am, because I can actually let some of the discipline. But exercise is not it's a must. To me, it's like drinking water. It's just part of your life to make you healthy.
And you're not just talking it, though, you're doing it. Speaking of exercise, Michael, again, I was fascinated. You played Division I college basketball, Oklahoma State. You're a big dude. What are some takeaways from there, that experience that you carry now with you as a leader?
Well, I think the most important part is, first of all, coming from the Bay Area and then going to even a different part of the country. Wow, I learned so much because all this group comes together artificially, for a purpose, but it's artificial. And there, you got 16 different states or regions brought in. And that's the part that's fascinating. Then we're going to one culture wherever we're at. So like if you wind up going to your neck of the woods, you get a whole new culture if you're from Alabama. You get a whole new culture from Arizona or New Mexico or something, and everywhere. I think that's the most important part, to realize that we're all the same. We're Americans, and we're coming together, and we're going to share our culture. What I really enjoyed about playing is living with my teammates. Not just, I always hear people say, oh, I got a roommate, in college. I always laugh at that. Well, that's nothing. Wait till you travel, 32 different places. And you as a former official, you know what that's like. Every time you show up in a new gym, you get a whole new culture, a whole new experience. And there are some commonalities. You have the rules. That helps us a little bit. But, there's no rules when you're living with somebody, or you're eating food 9 or 10 times, or someone's doing something that's causing problems, or if someone plays poorly and what they were out too late last night. And that's what I'm talking about. You hold each other accountable. So that is huge. That's one of the biggest things I learned from the team. You hold each other accountable. And it's a nice way. It's loving, because we're all in this together. So even now, I ask my administrative team when they meet with me, every other week I meet with every administrator, and he or she comes in and they tell me, I ask them one question: give me something to hold me accountable. And boy, that's a tough question for them. But a lot of times now they feel very comfortable. Michael, you need to do this for me. You need to do this for the district. Or you said you were going to do this, and I haven't seen that yet. And I tell you what, when I hear that from a couple of them, that really is huge for me, because as a teammate, that was what made the teams very successful for me. You go through teammates and teams, they lose a family member, there are breakups with a boyfriend or girlfriend, somebody dies, there's all kinds of things that happens to a team. And you say, well, how come that team fell apart? You might not know what that team fell apart. That team might have didn't fall apart. They should have collapsed, but they made it through these trials we never hear of. And I think that's the greater part that we transform or form it to administration. I also really appreciated, my coaches, because what happened was I watched them play their specific roles. And I think that's important, because I tell everybody that, everyone's role is vital. And as you know, even our team manager forgets 1 or 2 things, we're all miserable. And we're all
MVP right there.
Exactly. And I'm just trying to talk about it. And that's what's even the sports announcers and the people who commentaries, people from your home, you learn to work with him or her. And you learn that they're going to ask you a couple questions, and it's really hard. And you probably can tell it. In fact, I'm looking forward to reading your book, because I know there's probably a couple stories in there where the emotion is so high and then they come and ask you some question that you feel could be completely irrelevant. I love the question, well, why do you guys think you lost tonight? Well, we didn't score enough points. I mean, you want to come back with a sarcastic answer, and it's amazing now. And if you look at coaches 30 years ago compared to what they're doing now, man, they have media training and everything, and they train athletes. The role of emotions is when I was in the university, whenever I used to teach, athletics and talk about coaching and things, one of the papers I assigned was the role of emotions in sports. And I think that's the same thing for administrators. We have to have that emotional piece. And that came back in our conference too, Andrew, we just got back. The role of emotions, sometimes like we just had a staff member die, a couple months ago. And here she comes back, and she's one of our best staff members ever, great staff member. And all of a sudden she dies, and we're all like, wow, it's part of life. And trying to get through that and acknowledge it. And you can imagine a whole group of kids. That was their teacher who passed away. So, I mean, I'm just saying that, yeah, the sports are great artificial means to create us for life. And I have lifetime's friends from it, but also the same thing as administrators, we can learn so much from it, and I think that's important. And I also go back to what I loved about playing and also coaching is that, you plan your stuff, you do the best you can, and then come to me back. And I, as a coach, and I've heard my coaches come back and say, I lost that one for us. I mean, wait a second, you weren't out there playing coach. Yeah, but I could have done this, this, and this. It would have made us better. And as administrators, we take that responsibility. You know what? That was a false start. We didn't do well in this program. This curriculum's great. We all did the homework, but we didn't do well implementing it. And I take responsibility for that as a coach or as an administrator. So I think there's huge lessons, and I can't think it enough. And also, what a great way to get school paid for. Play the game you love.
Got to play in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
Yeah. What a great takeaways there, Michael, and just so natural, right? You related it so natural. Was there an extreme experience, a high or an extreme low that we remember those, right? We remember those moments. Is there one that stands out to you? Like
there was one in Texas. We were playing in East Texas, and I had a player that who would come from. He actually came from junior college, and he went to spend some time in prison, came back, and he had a couple years of eligibility. He spit on people on purpose, and that's hard for officials to catch, as you know. And that was the back of the time when where AIDS and things were there, and people were panicking. And I finally, and the coach calls timeout and yells at me, what's wrong with you, Carter? You're letting this person beat you up and blah, blah, blah. And I said, Coach, he's spitting on me. He goes, what are you going to do about it, Carter? Well, Carter got out there and lost his cool. Almost didn't punch him, but let him have it.
Wow.
And I think that was really interesting because that was close to my home, where I was living at the time. And there's a lot of fans came. So in front of 400 of the youth I was going to wind up coaching, in the summer, here I'm setting this example, and here I get kicked out of a game. And that really was probably the turning point in my life to take sports to my life.
Yeah.
That, who's going to take you out of your game? I mean, who's going to take you out of your game? And I think that's what it is. I mean, this guy, I've tried to find him because I was going to get in touch with him and apologize for my behavior when I was, 20 years old. But the bottom line was his behavior took me out of my game. And that hurt the team, that hurt me, and it also it resulted in me making a poor decision and doing something that I would never do. I mean, I was, and I think that is the part that I always ask everyone, even now in administration, what's going to take us out of your game? What's going to take you out of, your leadership ability? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be your attitude? Is it going to be someone else's attitude? Is it going to be someone else's behavior? And that is the most important lesson I think I learned in all the years. I mean, it sounds terrible, but get kicked out of a game because I let someone else take me out of my game.
201 show here, and I give the questions ahead of time, but sometimes we go off script. That was not on the question list, right? And that story, and it's still here 30 plus years later, had a deep impact on you. That's an incredible story, and what a great leadership question, right? Who is taking you out of your game, and how do you not allow that? That was awesome, Michael.
Oh, thanks. But it's helped me through a whole lot, even in my personal life. What is going to take you out of your game? What's going to make you not perform the level you normally can or will or could?
Awesome answer. And again, appreciate Jeff watching here. Jeff's putting a lot of quotes in the chat. If you are watching live, jump in. But Jeff's right. Yeah, routines make us better leaders. And he quoted a lot of your things there, Michael. Michael, where do you see this all going? You mentioned about COVID changing education. Where do you see us going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, if you look back, I go all the way back to 1983, latchkey kids, they talked about a nation at risk. And you look at some of the correlations. So I actually pulled that back out, in January and compared it to some of the crises we had then. And, it's interesting that some of the crises are still there. And one of the things we talked about was the use of technology. And even that was the technology that's starting then. So COVID has been I think it's accelerated us 5 to 10 years. Everyone now has one-on-one. There was a time with all the districts, you look at it, we'll try to get one-on-one. We're trying to get teachers how to use technology. Right now, we're able to have this discussion, and share it with our colleagues.
Yeah, live.
And do it live. And we're 3 hours away. 3-hour time difference. And then all the other things. So I think that's fabulous. And where I live, this has been a very big game changer. Before, if I wanted to go to a meeting in Salem, it was a 2-day thing. I left at night and got there. So I think that COVID now has brought us into a place where maybe Carnegie units might go away. It's going to take some time, but I think for the first time I see that. And that was what they talked about, in the Nation at Risk in 1983. I think that's ironic, and that's one of the papers I'm going to write for a journal. That's my new goal. But, I look at that and say, wow, they're talking about Carnegie units, that our system's been designed 100-something years ago, and we're still following these time constraints and units of learning. I think COVID's changed that right now.
Yeah.
I think that right now people can work at home. People can do certain things. Now, school jobs might be a little different, but I'm just trying to point out, though, that what if? Those two words are going to be huge now. So I think we can use COVID as a springboard to a real nice dive.
Great answer. Michael, you dress sharp. You have a suit on today. We talked a little bit out there. Why is it important to look the part? Why is that something that you still continue to do?
Yeah, it's probably a generational thing. I'm an older guy, but I put on my suit, and when I go in there, the kids ask what tie I'm wearing. I have a whole bunch of ties. I have ties. I never wear the same tie twice, and then the kids always ask some questions, and it's kind of fun. And I have some really colorful ones, but it's board meeting tonight, so a little more conservative. I just tell you that up front. But I learned that when I was an elementary principal. Ties were huge, and I had some fun ties out there. But it's also it helps me put on. It's like when I prepared for a game in college. You went through a routine, and it's the same thing. When I get up in the morning, I go work out, I drink this, I make my bed. But when I come to work, I'm at work. This is it. Now, what's really fun, though, Andrew, and you know this better than anybody, is that whenever I do come out of my suit, I've had people at the grocery store, even at my size, they don't recognize me because I'm not in my suit. And I was at a game once, at a high school game. In fact, this last year, and I'm sitting there, and somebody says, well, I never see the superintendent. He never shows up. I see him a couple times. No, he's never shown up. I said, hey guys, how you guys doing? I'm right behind them. You walk up there because I was in shorts and But what I'm saying though is I believe that it's like whenever I want a kid to get up and give a speech or something, and they're doing something, they're representing the school or themselves or an organization that they believe in. You need to dress the part, and and that's what I mean. So I think that that's why I do it. To be very honest. It also gives me a mindset. It helps me prepare. It's just like 2 pair of socks and lacing my shoes. I have a routine.
You're even the necktie, and that thing is perfect. It is right. You are spot on. Michael, we have a few more minutes. What is something that you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you about?
Well, I think that the key thing is right now, I would like people to look at, everyone can be a leader. And that was talked about in our conference. We don't have to have a title to be a leader. And I think that's awesome. And I think that that's another thing of COVID right now. We saw some people step up, in a crisis. And I think that that's what we need to look at too. So I'm going to encourage everyone to realize administration right now, we're going to have a shortage of administrators out there. We do now, but there's going to be a lot more. This is a great job. It's a great career. I did not plan to be a superintendent. I didn't even plan to be a teacher. And then when I became a teacher, last thing I wanted to do was become an administrator. And then, finally I got pushed by some mentors. So the value of mentorship, I would like to really push that. If you've been given the opportunity and I've been mentored by some wonderful people, still am mentored by some great people. And then when I'm mentored by them, every time I try to give them something back, send them coffee, send them a bottle of their favorite beverage or something, they say, no, I want you to pay it forward.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm asking everybody, step up, take the leadership role. It's one of the most wonderful jobs in the world.
Well, I'm happy to be the recipient of the coffee that was maybe supposed to go to someone else, because I've got a few bags of coffee now, Oregon coffee out there, incredible. Michael, we're going to be together again soon. You have the Small Schools Conference coming up on the beautiful coast, the Pacific Coast. What is your hope with this as the executive director?
I think as executive director, the key thing is for us, I have 4 board members going off. So, I mean, and people don't realize, but join a state organization, get in some of these, and this is how you get legislation changed. Yeah. This is how we were able to stay open and become sort of the pilots. I tell everybody, well, I don't have time for that. I'm going to come back and question you. You don't have time. You must make time for that. You know, Plato talked about if you don't get involved with politics, you're going to have inferior people rule over you. And I think I mentioned that to you earlier this week. And that's true. So politics we have a negative connotation. It's not. Politics is just relationships and talking and getting policy that's sound. Mm-hmm. So get involved with your state organization. And like our small school association, what we're hoping to do is bring in some new ones. I've been personally invited, sent personal emails, and I've sent personal notes, handwritten notes. People, come to the conference. When you come, I'm buying you dinner, or I'm buying your first beverages on me. I'm just trying to get them there to realize that state organizations and national organizations are our organizations.
Yes.
And be part of the solution rather than just sit on the sideline.
Awesome stuff. I'm looking forward to it, and certainly want to be part of the success of the conference.
We're excited about having you. I tell you what, everyone, we got a lot of great people coming because of you. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Michael, rapid fire. I know you got a board meeting. I know you got stuff tonight. Yeah. These are quick answers. This is last second shot. Okay. You got to bring the heat. You ready?
Yep.
Last book you read?
She Leads, Rachel George. Great.
You had notes in there. It was great. Last movie you saw?
The Grand Seductor. It's about Newfoundland when they tried to get a doctor and they made their whole community lie. It's fabulous.
Favorite journal that you subscribe to?
Well, I do the What Schools Could Be out of Stanford.
Yeah, that is good. Favorite place to travel? This could be a whole separate show.
New Zealand.
Yeah, wow.
Love South Island, love the North Island, Picton, all that, Dunedin. I love it.
2 recent wins you want to share?
We got a great grant. We're one of the 3 districts in the state of Oregon. We are the smallest one for mindfulness and helping get micro certifications to help people with health concerns and also mental health.
Yeah, wow. Michael, you're very easygoing. You're again warm to talk to. What's a pet peeve of yours? What's something that gets under your skin?
Follow through. Lack of follow through.
Yeah.
I mean, I always tell everybody if we can under promise and over deliver. And you said that a lot in your thing, Andrew. Making sure you give it, make sure you show up, be present. But I really think that's a lost art. Follow through is important. I effort. If you follow, even if you're not successful, but if you follow through and say what you're going to do, it really means a lot to everybody.
Yeah. At 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I fill in the blank.
I feel excellent. I feel absolutely excellent. I love Saturday mornings. Usually I'm going hiking or I plan my stuff out. But Saturday mornings is a great time in the morning for me because I'm usually reading something or watching. I watch 1 foreign film a week. So that's usually when I do it with a cup of coffee, and it's just fabulous.
Leading with gratitude is important because
it's the part I call it the creamy white filling between 2 cookies. Sorry.
That's a good.
Well,
I have not heard gratitude described in that way before.
I mean, that's what people want it. You're thankful for them and everything. And 2 cookies, but that creamy white filling is what makes it worthwhile.
I love it. Best purchase under $100 that has had a great impact on your life.
Gift cards. Thank you cards, gift cards. I mean, they're the gift to keep giving, and you can buy a whole pack of them for $100. You get a lot of them, and it really is wonderful.
When I visit Lake County, Oregon, your hometown right now, where are you going to take me?
Cottonwood or up to the ski lodge, depending what time you're coming. So we got Cottonwood's one of the best hikes in my life that I love by the lake. And then the other place is a ski lodge, which is 7 miles away.
You had some interesting friends on your last hike there.
I did. Sand cranes up at almost 8,000, 7,000 something feet. So amazing.
One thing you love about Oregon?
The people and the climate.
Something about Michael Carter that people do not know about.
Oh boy. I rode in the 100th anniversary of the Rose Parade. I was on the Burger King education float doing this for 4.5 miles. That was quite an experience. I never thought I would get the opportunity to do that, but that was fabulous. So yeah, the 100th anniversary of the Rose Parade. So that's a different place to look at the Rose Parade from there.
Michael, you're involved with your state organization, Lake County. How can people get in touch with you?
They can call me. They can email me. My phone number is 541-947-3347.
They're calling right now.
I just put them on hold. They just called right now. Somebody did. 541-947-3347. My email is carter.michael@lakeview.k12.or.us. Again, you call or email me. I'll get back to you.
And again, Michael is modeling the stuff he talked about today because I've seen it in action. Michael, this was a home run. I love quotes. Is there one you want to share as we exit here?
Henry David Thoreau, if you build your castles in the air, fret not, for that's where they should be. Now build the foundation under them.
Ooh, say that one more time.
If you build your castles in the air, fret not, for that's where they should be. Now build the foundation under them.
That is beautiful.
Well, Henry David Thoreau is one of my heroes, transcendentalist, him and Emerson.
Wow. Let's get 2 claps for Michael Carter here. I don't want to play my going out music, guys. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but I don't want them to cut the show off. This was a great show, Michael.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, Andrew.
Yeah, you're really modeling out there, and you're good for education, right? You are going to bring in more administrators, and you are mentoring those people. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. See you
All
later.
right.
Bye-bye.
Stay on the line a second, Michael. This is show number 201. We are going to sign off here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond. Please leave us a comment or a question. Jeff, we appreciate you jumping in here. He talked about his dad here wearing the suits also. Jeff, good luck with the baby. Guys, I'd love for you to grab a copy of Tales from the Hardwood. It is live on Amazon right now. And if I could help you in any way, don't hesitate to reach out on Twitter at Andrew Murata21. I know Mr. Carter is going to be adding a Twitter handle very soon. Signing off 201.